Hello and welcome back. It is so beautiful to be with you all today. I have my mic on a stand. I got my notes, very brightly colored and annotated. But do not let that lead you astray, okay? The topic we have today is neither bright nor colorful. Shit's about to go down because today we are talking about my trauma sweaters. Now, a trauma sweater doesn't necessarily have to be a sweater, but for me it is. It can be any article of clothing, but it is essentially a garment that you wore when you were really depressed or just like not doing well in general. And every time you wear it now, you shudder. Every time you see it, there's a shiver sent down your spine, and you look in the mirror and you feel like you're the same person you were when you were wearing it over and over again every single day when you were in the gutter. All right. The thought of a trauma sweater was first introduced to me in October of 2019 when I picked up this little number from Goodwill. All right. First of all, 2019, this was the color. All right. If you didn't have anything in this color, you were out. Okay. You couldn't sit with the plastics at the table. All right. And I thought that by wearing something that was like my favorite color, I would feel so good. But alas, I did not. My sophomore year, I had like 2 outfits, maybe 3. I'm going to rattle off some other things I wore at the time. That would be my gray Virginia swimming sweatshirt, gray Washington Huskies hoodie, a green flannel that I got from my friend Anna Stanojevic, and a gray sweatshirt that I got from one of my summer intensives. Now, you might be asking yourself, Charlotte, why are all of these articles gray or green? That was because I hated myself, and to punish myself, I feel like I wore things that were like boring, bland. I had like 2 pairs of sweatpants that I always wore like tucked into like my socks. That was the vibe at the time. It was 2016, it was Coachella. That was the vibe at the time, right? And I specifically wore things that like hid my body. I get a lot of joy out of, picking new outfits, being creative and expressing myself through the things that I wear. So this time when I felt like way too tired, mentally drained to pick out an outfit every morning, it was 10 times easier to just put on the same goddamn sweatpants I was wearing the day before. And also, I was at a crisis with the way my body looked. I feel like every teenage girl goes through this when she becomes a woman and suddenly has a figure and suddenly doesn't fit into like the skinny jeans that she had freshman year. Wearing sweatshirts and sweatpants was the only things that I felt good in. And this sweatshirt specifically, I didn't ever feel good, but this was like my lifeline at the time, When I was in like elementary school or middle school, I watched a video where this couple was doing 2 truths and a lie or something. And one of their truths was when they were in sophomore year, they had 2 outfits that they just rotated between for like the whole year. And at the time I was like, why would you do that? You can just do laundry, get new clothes, whatever. But then I got to my sophomore year and I was like, I get it now. I get it now because I genuinely like couldn't bring myself to put anything else on my body other than those pairs of sweatpants and those sweatshirts that I just rattled off. But yeah, this was the sweatshirt. I wore this to school, and I specifically wore things that I could wear to rehearsal after because I was doing like 3 shows at the time, and I was being like schlepped all over the goddamn state to go to these rehearsals. So yeah, I wanted something easy, simple, something I could sit in the car in, and something that just felt like I was in bed all day. And that really didn't help me feeling tired all the time, I don't think, because I just felt comfy and cozy, and I would be like almost falling asleep at my desk every day. And it was often in this sweatshirt that I was falling asleep at my desk. And I think just during that time, I bit off a lot more than I could chew. Like I said, I was doing like 3 shows at the time. I was taking a lot of hard classes in school. And I would leave before the sun was up, and I'd get home well before it set. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I had no time to do my homework. I was just like go, go, go all the time, and it sucked. It really sucked. But as I was doing research for this video, and research, I mean looking through my camera roll to find out when exactly I got this sweatshirt, I realized, I don't know, looking back at all the things that were so serious to me at the time, now I feel like they're just so inconsequential. I found pictures of like people that I really wanted to impress, or pictures from the show that I really wanted to do well in. And of course, like, I cherish those times I had on stage and with those people, but like, it wasn't that deep because I made it out the other end, and who cares what happened in the meantime, you know what I'm saying? But I am really grateful for that time because I feel like it set me up for other things that I had to go through in my life. Having that much responsibility placed on me when I was just like 16 years old, having to be basically an adult and carry my weight in these rehearsals with other adults, it helped me, find myself and find my confidence and find my responsibility, my self-sufficiency, if you will. Because when I went into my senior year, I feel like I had a lot more responsibility, but I was able to handle it a little bit better. So yeah, this was number one. All right. And then in my senior year, I got this thing. This blue sweater was purchased at a Salvation Army, and every time I'm home, I go to that Salvation Army because I swear to God, it has the best clothes. The best clothes. Some of my favorite pieces I found at that specific Salvation Army. So I got this in October of 2021, just in time for my December camping trip. And this sweater is just beautiful. Can we all agree on that? It's a beautiful sweater. And I thought that by putting something beautiful on my body, I would feel beautiful. It was infallible logic at the time, but alas, it did not work out. Like I said, once again, I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. But I had the life lessons that I learned in 2019 to guide me through this period of my life. And this sweater is very hard to get on and off your head. So for me, it just stayed on. There were a lot of Sunday rots done in this sweater. And like, it probably just got so muggy and so disgusting. Anytime I had an excuse to pull out the sweater, I was in that shit. I often wore it with these jeans I'm wearing currently. I thought that was the most fire fit I ever put on I felt at the time. These jeans with this sweater, boom, perfect. But yeah. So what else do I have in my notes here? That's it. Anytime I see this, I just remember fall of my senior year. Homecoming. I had a lot of responsibilities with SGA, student government. I was senior class historian. What about it? And then also like a lot of ballet stuff, like running the studio. I did that shit in this sweatshirt right here. And I felt like I was going through a lot of stuff on my own. But again, I felt like I was equipped to handle it because I went through what I went through in the green sweatshirt, and now I had this sweater this time around. So things were better, but I was also not doing well. Like, they were better comparatively, but again, we were rotting from the inside out. We were a corpse. We were walking around as a freaking zombie all the time. The next one is probably the most consequential sweatshirt I have, all right? This sweatshirt was given to me by my little brother. He grew out of it and said, "Charlotte, it's yours now." And he gave it to me right before I went to Cincinnati. So this was end of 2022. And at the time, whenever I wore it, I felt kind of closer to my family. And I tried to wear it when I thought Jason had like games going on. I don't think my family knows that. Like, when they texted like, "Ooh, Jason game today," and they'd be texting the core, I would be posted up in this sweatshirt because this is a school he went to. Anyway. But yeah, also at the time, I would wear this and feel connected to my family. I'd feel at home. Yes, yes, yes. But I was also really struggling with new lows of self-doubt, self-pity, and self-isolation. Like, I was really, really having a hard time finding my place in this new city, this new program, new environment. I just really felt like someone was going to turn around and be like, "You're still here," and then like kick me out right then and there. I was really not doing well, both mentally and in my dancing, but also like health wise. My self-hygiene was awful, just awful. My acne was the worst it had ever been. And ladies and gentlemen, your acne will not work itself out. Seek help. Go to a dermatologist, please. If you have the means to do so, please go to a dermatologist. It will save your life. But at the time, I felt so ugly, both because of my acne, but just because of where I was at the time. You know, it was a very jarring move. I moved out of my house after living in the same one for 18 years with my family. And I was all alone with no safety net. So anytime I wear this still now, I put it on and I can see all the red splotches on my face, all the acne scarring. I feel so greasy, so oily, so muggy. And then I just sit in it and I keep wearing it. And that is the true essence of a trauma sweater. You know, like having something that like feels so icky being in it, but it's the only thing that feels right to wear, you know? And last, but certainly not least, we have this one. This is my red LL Bean quarter button sweater. I have, ever since I was a little girl, maybe not a little girl, but I have always wanted one of these like button up, like snappy ones. I think since like 2019, because I was in my sweats era, as we recall from earlier in this video. I wanted one of these so freaking bad. Anyway, but yeah, like I got this in October of 2023 at a vintage shop in Cincinnati. And this sweater collects hair and lint like no other. All right, every time I pull this shit out of the wash, there were like fucking hairballs on it, which I am a little bit glad because now I know all the hair is not in the rest of my laundry and it is in fact just on this one sweater. But like it is infuriating, but I think that is also a little bit how I feel in this. I feel a little bit muggy, nasty, and disgusting, which is why I wear it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're not feeling good, for me at least, all I want to do is push myself further down. How low can we feel, ladies and gentlemen? And I feel like I found new lows in this sweater. There's so much Nutcracker trauma attached to this, so much Don Q trauma attached to this. But I would still be able to like dress it up, you know? Like I'd wear it to ballet class and like wear it with like my warm-ups and stuff like that, but I would also dress it up and wear it out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that that's all I have about this one. Yeah, all to say, like, I also look baller in red. I look great in this color. And I'm noticing now that a lot of these were purchased in October. I did not plan that. But you know how the cookie crumbles. Intense October, fall, seasonal depression. You connect the dots. I did that all for you last video. I'm not going to rehash it again, all right? But the last thing I want to talk about has nothing to do with trauma or sweaters. I want to talk about albums I like to read too. I was going to do a whole separate video, but I didn't have enough material to justify making a whole separate video, and this one was kind of short, so I'm going to talk about albums I like to read too. For the longest time, I could not listen to music while I was reading or working on homework or anything. Like, I would just get jumbled with the words that were happening in my brain and the words that I was listening to, and it just did not work out. But then I started to read at the studio, and I couldn't deal with all the people talking, so I had to put my headphones in, and when I had my headphones in, like, the noise canceling, like, only worked so much, so I had to put some music on. And the first album that I decided to listen to was Battle Studies by John Mayer. This is by no means like one of my favorite John Mayer album. I enjoy it. Like, it's all right, but it wasn't like the holy grail that is Continuum. You know what I'm saying? So when I was listening to it, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything by not sitting and digesting all of the lyrics that he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to concentrate on what I was reading, which is weird because he is like a very lyrical songwriter, you know, like he really thinks hard about the words that he's saying, but I did not think about the words that I was listening to. I was thinking about the book that I was reading. The next one, I read the Anthropocene review to this very recently. The Quarantine Sessions by Tom Misch. I think that's how you say his name. But it's an instrumental guitar album. There is one song where he just starts singing French, but I would usually skip that one. But it is just like a nice like guitar album to listen through while you're reading. The next one is Breezin' by George Benson. I read The Notebook to this. It was a little jaunty to go with that book. I try to like coordinate like what albums I'm listening to with what book I'm reading. And he does have some like moments where he is like singing and like lyrics are happening, but I was able to tune those out, no problem. And the last one, I just recently started listening to this one during my Harry Potter reread. ladies and gentlemen, we are deep in Harry Potter reread season. And that is I Forget Where We Were by Ben Howard. He just released like a 10th anniversary edition. And I haven't done like a proper listen through of this album when I'm actually like paying attention to what he's saying. And I really think I should, because I love the music that's happening in my ears as I'm reading Harry Potter. And I think it really just like adds to what I'm reading. There's like almost like a haunted quality about the songs on this album, which I think really gears itself to reading Harry Potter. So yeah, that's all I have to talk about today. A little bit of a short one today, but that's all right. I mean, it's my channel. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, if you have any trauma garments that you want to discuss in the comments down below, if you have any albums you like to read to that you want to discuss in the comments down below, that's awesome. I want to make sure that I have everything that I talked about. Oh my goodness. When I was doing research for this, again, research meaning looking through my camera roll, I found a screenshot that I had of this like zip up jacket that I screenshot on February 15th, 2020. And it was a zip up. It was like red mostly, and it had like blue and green on it. First of all, I still want this zip up jacket, but alas, it was on some like vintage consignment shop website, and it's probably gone to the forces. It's probably being worn by someone who really loves it right now. But I just can't help but wonder what my life would be like had I had that garment in my possession. You know, because my mom gave me a North Face, I went into her closet and stole her North Face jacket and wore it in front of her multiple times. And that was a similar like zip up, like collared like thing. You know, the classic North Face jacket. So it was kind of similar to that, but it was fun colors. What would life have been like if I had had that? Because I know for a fact I would have it now because it's just beautiful. But yeah, maybe I'll try to find it. You know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go try to find that zip up.